Hello, ladies. Good morning. How are we doing? Are we all awake yet?
Yes.
So, I'm glad you all have joined me here today. My name is Aarya, and before I tell you a little bit more about me, I just want to give you guys a little bit of a rundown of what we're going to be talking about today. So today, I don't want you guys to think of this as a lecture. I want you to think of it as a conversation. So I want us to ask questions, to give your opinion, even if it goes against mine. So these are the expectations I have for you guys. I've heard that you all are quite a bright bunch, so I want you guys to engage with me, with one another, and I'm hoping that we all can learn from each other and we can have fun. So today, we'll be having a conversation on society, individuality, and responsibility, and how the three of these connect and overlap within the realm of fashion and beauty industries. So let me give you guys a little bit of an introduction of who I am. So this is me. My name is Aarya Walvekar, and I'm actually from the US. I was born and brought up there. So you guys might be wondering, why am I here in India? It's actually for a beauty pageant. So I came here as Miss India USA, and now I have won the title of Miss India Worldwide as well. So I have a little bit of experience in fashion and beauty, so I just want to share my thoughts with you guys, and I want to hear some of your thoughts as well. Over here you can see, that is me. So the first thing that I want to address with you guys is the concept of society. So first let's talk about what society is. This is a broad term, right? So I want to hear a little bit about you guys of one word you associate when you think about society. So for example, for me I would say diverse, or I could say community. So can anybody raise their hands and give me just one word what you think about? Yes, you turn the back. Judgmental and restrictions. Okay. Do some of you guys resonate with that as well? Anybody else? Come on, guys. One more person? Anyone? Yes, you two right there. Did you say togetherness? Okay.
The environment around us, like the environment.
Yes, perfect. So these are all words that represent society for you guys as individuals. And you guys might have conflicting views of society, and that's fine. So here is what I think when I think of society. So here are just some of the words that I think about. So as you guys can see, there's words up there that conflict with each other, that are seemingly opposite, right? So over here, you might notice that I have the word community, I have the word team. However, I also have the word conformity. So let me explain a little bit about my story and my journey. So I have the word team and community up there because every step of the way, my immediate circle has helped me be the person that I am today. They've helped me and encouraged my dreams. However, I do have the word conformity up there because relatives, sometimes even teachers, when asked what do I want to be when I grow up, they've told me that keep my expectations more realistic. Don't go in this industry, stick to something that is more usual, right? Doctors, engineers, we know how it is, we're Indian. So this is just some of my experiences. And this has also allowed me to understand that it's different for everybody, right? For me specifically, when I was told these things, there was a time in my life where I felt ashamed to pursue what I really wanted to pursue, that I kept my inherent talents hidden for fear of being judged, for fear of not being accepted, and even for fear of failure. And I know that some of you guys might be able to resonate with this, some of you guys might not. Some of you guys were probably encouraged to come here by your family members. You guys were told to pursue this, pursue whatever industry you want to go in. However, I know many others might have been told, pursue something more comfortable, more safe. So each one of us here has a different story of how we got here, how we interact with our own environment, our own definition of society. So let's talk about Indian women specifically. So when I say Indian woman, what image comes to mind for some of you? Can you guys raise your hands? Yes.
Bold.
Bold, okay. Strong, okay.
Yes.
You too?
Multitasking.
Hardworking,
Multitasking.
multitasking,
Compromising.
compromising,
Brave.
brave. Anybody else? You guys can just shout it out.
Fearless.
Fearless,
Straightforward.
straightforward,
Emotional.
emotional. You in the back? You in the back?
Bounded.
Bounded, okay. Independent. Now, do you see how those two words were somewhat contradicting? Bounded, yet independent. So my point here is everyone has a different vision, a different image, and that's okay. So now let me show you what happened when I searched it up on Google. Just the simple two words, Indian woman. These were the first two images that came up, right? So this, to me, is not a full representation of what an Indian woman really is. You can see someone who's simple, who's dressed in traditional clothing, who seems sanskari, right? But we are so much more than that, aren't we? We can dress however we want, we can still be Indian. We can talk however we want, we can still be Indian. So, for example, for me, I can talk like this. I'm from America, I can have an American accent. But me Marathi pan bolu sakte. My parents are from Maharashtra, right? मैं हिंदी में भी बात कर सकती हूँ. I know these languages, yet I also speak in this accent. But with my Indian relatives, I speak like this only because they do not understand my American accent, right? So there's all of these versions of me, yet it is still Arya at the end of the day, right? People might find their own opinions of me based on which version I decide to present to them at that moment. However, I myself know who I am and that all of these make up me. So I want you all to understand that your individuality amongst a society that tries to fit you into a certain boundary is important to maintain. Okay? So, let's talk about the fashion and beauty industry specifically. So this industry is very demanding with AI, filters, Photoshop, all of this. It can be hard to differentiate what is real and what isn't. And I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, this has caused me to feel low at certain points in time. This has caused me to feel insecure. And I know a lot of you guys have shared the same struggles, right? Yep, I see some heads nodding. So, when I started out in pageantry, when I was curious about it, when I was interested in it, I didn't think that I could do it because I'm clearly not 5'10", and I'm clearly not some super skinny person. I thought that those were limiting me from following my dreams, from following something that I genuinely had a love for. However, I got encouraged to try it. And what do you know? I won. I won on an international level, a national level, and I'm here. And I'm here to tell you all that no matter what boundaries you think you are limited by, you really aren't. We are the modern Indian woman. We can dress like this, but we don't have to. We can be anything and everything that we want to be. There are no limitations. They're only in our mind. So, now that I talked about individuality, I want to talk about the term inherent talent. I used this term a couple different times earlier, but what I want to explain is that inherent talent is something that you have by nature. It is something that nobody can take away from you. And no matter how off course you might go, you will always come back to this inherent talent. So, can I have a few volunteers to raise their hand and tell me what they think their inherent talent is? I can give you an example of mine. I would say that I'm expressive. I'm a dancer. This comes naturally to me. I love it. I enjoy it. And this is something I would always turn to express myself. Does anyone else have an example? Yes, you right there.
I love to cook and I'm a good at dancing.
Okay, cooking, good at dancing. Anybody else? Yes, you.
I'm good at multitasking.
Good at multitasking, okay, impressive. I'm horrible at that. Anybody else? Yes. Did you say bold? Okay, impressive. So these are all inherent talents that you guys have, you guys hold, and that nobody can take away from you. So I want to take you guys on a little bit of a mindfulness exercise so that you guys can take a break from me talking. So can you all do this with me? So first, I want us to all close our eyes slowly. And I'll be doing this with you guys, okay? Close our eyes. Keep listening to my voice as I speak, okay? So now let's take a deep breath in. Hold it. And now release. Let's do that one more time. Deep breath in. Hold. And release. Keep your eyes closed. And I want you guys to imagine a time where you were most happy, where you truly experienced passion. Something that lit a fire in your heart. This can be anything. This can be a hobby. This can be a career achievement. This can be spending time with loved ones. Any moment. Visualize this in your mind and hold this image there. Experience every detail and keep breathing through it. Relive that moment. Now, with your eyes closed, I want you all to find the emotion that fuels this memory. Is it love? Is it warmth? Is it nostalgia? Passion? Excitement? Identify that emotion. Okay, you guys can open your eyes now. How did that feel? Just a little bit of a visualization. A little bit more calming. So, let me tell you guys what I envisioned. So for me, I envisioned the amount of work I put into preparing for my goals, preparing for my pageant specifically. The blood, sweat, and tears that I put into this. I identified the emotions that went behind this, which was the feeling of dedication, which was the feeling of passion, feeling of excitement, like I'm on the brink of my life, of the brink of reaching my goals. So this was the emotion that I identified. And now, this has helped me understand what I crave most in my career, in my life. This is what I want in my future goal. This is what the feeling I want to have in my future path. Right? So I want you guys to understand that whatever you just imagined, hold that feeling close to you and use it to help pursue your future path. That is why we did this exercise. That is the inherent emotion and quality that you crave for, that you love feeling. So is anybody here willing to share what they visualized? Maybe not all of it, but just a little tidbit. You don't have to, because some of them might be personal. But if anyone in here is willing to share, anybody? No? Oh, you right there?
Actually, I visualized the thing that my first step towards my career. I visualized that. I feel confident and it will really calm and it's like, yeah, I can do it. It's kind of that thing.
That's amazing to hear. Does anybody else want to share anything? Yes, you in the back.
I envisioned myself back to a workshop that I attended, first workshop I attended about fashion, and there we had to make a magazine cover, and I just saw my future there. Like the feeling that I feel was passion, excitement, and just really overwhelmed of the future that I would have.
I completely understand what you're saying. My vision was similar to yours, something that really I felt in my heart, something that lit a fire in my heart. So I completely understand where you're coming from. Does anyone else want to share? Yes, you?
I visualized the feeling when my parents were proud of me.
Oh, that's so sweet. That is so sweet. Does anybody else want to share? It's so nice hearing all of your guys' thoughts. They really warm my heart. Anybody else? Okay. So, next I want to talk about individuality and how it crosses with the concept of society. Okay, so I want to first ask, what do you guys think individuality means? What do you think it means to be an individual? It can be anything, a word, a sentence. Can anybody raise their hand? Yes, blue shirt.
Standing out of the crowd and expressing yourself.
Okay, standing out of the crowd, expressing yourself, that's good. Yes,
Own personality.
your own personality, good. You, unique identity, okay, beautiful.
Having your own opinion about some kind of thing.
Okay, having your own opinions, red shirt,
Being yourself.
beautiful, being yourself.
Being responsible.
Okay, being responsible, great.
The values that you live by.
Okay, great. So these are all definitions of individuality, but that's not it, is there? There's a lot more that goes into it. The way you were raised, the values you grew up with, the experiences you've had, the good, bad, the ugly. All of that goes into what makes you an individual. So I want you all to understand that you see how you all had so many definitions of individuality? That is what you need to remember, that there are so many definitions, and you don't need to listen to people when they tell you that there can be only one. So let's say specifically in the fashion and the beauty industry, you see a lot of people on magazine covers, and yes, now there is way more representation, and I am all for it. However, personally for me, growing up, once upon a time, on magazine covers I would only see fair-skinned, white women who are tall, skinny, and that is the image that I thought I had to live up to. So for a long time this made me feel inadequate. But as we're seeing more representation now, younger girls of the generation are understanding the same concept, that they can be beautiful in any manner, in any way, right? So I want to emphasize that finding your own individuality is a long and challenging process for some. Some of you still might be struggling with that. I know sometimes I still question my own individuality. However, for others, you might already know who you are. You might be raised in a way that allowed you to explore, to express. But either way, you guys are still young. You guys are at the brink of your life, the precipice of your entire existence. So you guys have time, so don't feel pressured to know anything yet. So, another thing that I want to emphasize specifically about the fashion industry is this industry can be judgmental at times. It can try to pull you down, try to say, this is how you do it, not this way, right? However, if you stay true to who you are, if you know what your goal is, what you want to do, there's nobody who can take you off your path. So, you right here, can you stand up? Your hair is blue. What did you say? Your hair is very blue. It's so blue, I actually hate the color blue. It looks like a blueberry. I hate it.
It's brown and black.
No, I see it. It's blue. It's blue, right?
No.
It's not blue? What? I think it's blue, and I hate the color blue, so I'm not going to talk to you. I don't like it. It's too blue for me. It's gross.
No, ma'am, this is not blue.
Exactly. That's my point. She does not have blue hair, but I'm insisting that she has blue hair. We can clearly see her hair is black and brown. However, this is the point that I want to make, that no matter what a person tells you, no matter if they're shouting in your face, telling you your hair is blue, they hate the color blue, you look like a blueberry, it's ugly. You know your hair is brown, you know your hair is black, so why would you be upset about it, right? So this is the same mentality that you guys need to have when approaching this industry. You guys are all about to enter it, so you guys have to understand that even if somebody comes up to you, tells you they hate the way you do things, they don't like this, they don't like that, you can't do it like this, you need to say, thank you, but my hair is black, my hair is brown. This is me, and I'm not going to believe anything that you say about me, right? That is being comfortable in your own individuality. That is being comfortable within yourself. So that is my point on individuality. I'm sorry for picking on you. What's your name? Muskan? Moria? So can we all give a round for Muskan Moria, please? So the last point that I want to make for you guys, before you guys get to ask me some questions, is about responsibility. So is responsibility possible in the fashion and beauty industry? So now, with this topic, I want to address a couple of sectors of responsibility. So I want you guys to really interact with me. I'll explain what we're about to do. But let me first speak about how responsibility in the fashion industry includes these sectors, right? Political. So over here you can see Melania Trump. I don't know if you guys all know who this is, but this is Donald Trump's wife. And this is her jacket. And she wore it as, yes, fashion, but also as a political statement. So this is one of the powers of fashion. Not just to look good, but it can really make a statement, right? So her jacket says, I really don't care, do you? And this caused a lot of controversy because she wore it while a refugee crisis was going on, and it sparked a wide debate all over social media. So this is just one of the powers that fashion has. The second one is ethical. So if you guys don't know, this is Lady Gaga's meat dress. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about this. But this was extremely controversial because there was 112 pounds of meat on her body. And I'm sure you guys know why this was an issue. But this is one of the ways that responsibility comes into fashion ethics. The third is environmental. Now we know there's a lot more going on with this. There's plastic that can be turned into cloth, but still there's a lot of areas where textiles being wasted, clothes are being mass produced and then wasted. A lot of things are ending up in landfills. So this is just one of the areas that we all still need to work on. And then the last one is commercial. So what are the effects of the rising of e-commerce with businesses like Shein, right? So I'm sure we all have heard Shein is accused of using child labor, unfair labor practices. So what are the effects that fashion is having on the commercial sector? So these are just only 4 of the ways that we must keep an eye on when being in the fashion industry. And you guys are about to enter that. So it's essential that you guys keep an eye on these 4 things. Not just these 4, there's many, but these 4 are the overall umbrella categories, right? So, I wanted to pose the question, where is fashion and beauty going in these 4 aspects? Political, ethical, environmental, and commercial. So if you guys can raise your hands, just shout out, where do you think it is headed towards? Do you think we're making good changes, bad changes? What do we need to work on? You guys can take a second to think. Is anyone brave enough to let us hear their opinions? Anybody? Come on, guys. This is a conversation. I'm trying to get you guys engaged. Otherwise, I'm going to start picking on people. And I'm sure you guys don't want that. Yes.
According to the fashion industry is becoming more accepting.
Okay, accepting.
Accepting the fact at certain level, obviously. They're accepting the fact that yeah, there are some issues we are creating and we have to solve it. So according to it's accepting at certain level.
Okay. Okay, good opinion. Yes.
It is becoming more inclusive.
More inclusive, definitely. And how so? How would you say?
More like for example maybe people of different races or like maybe queer people.
Definitely.
All the people are getting representation.
Definitely. I think that's an important part. Yes, green stripes?
It needs more inclusivity on the terms of plus size, and also we need to eliminate fast fashion.
Okay. New opinion? Anybody else? Yes.
I guess it is leading to more popularity, like people only see popularity, not the people who are working hard.
And how so? How would you explain that?
There are many artists like who work days and night to make a beautiful garment, but they are not very popular. But like you saw Bella Hadid, like spray. It was not invented by that company, but it was long back invented. She just like it was sprayed on her body, and she just it was a simple spray that was like I felt it was not worth it. Like there are artists who work more hard like day and night making embroideries and stuff. And like I feel they are not recognized, but just the big brands are recognized, like Louis Vuitton. They don't sell good things to us. They only sell good things to like branded, like popular people. That was my thing. Like we should like see people who are working hard, not the popular.
Yes, definitely. And I especially agree with what you said about the Bella Hadid dress. I'm sure so many of you know the thing that went viral for Bella Hadid walking. They did the spray-on dress on her. However, that went viral because it was Bella Hadid. But it was invented before that, But it only seemed to go viral after someone who's popular wore it on a runway. Anybody else? Yes, you in the back?
Fashion these days are got to a level where they're including the social problems into fashion and not just focusing on the female body and telling that female body or the female gender is more about everything and not just about the body.
And do you have an example of how this is being applied?
simply clothes that can be used not like for other purposes also like for professions and everything.
Mhm.
Then there's the recycle using of textiles as our glue for architecture, using textiles as our glue. In Europe, I think there was an architect who used textiles and make it into a bricks and then it was uh, I don't know the designer's name, but she used plastic bags instead of the textiles, and she made a whole hype at all fashion, like, and there was a very big runway for her.
Yes, and specifically about pageants, to what you said. There was a Miss Universe Thailand, I believe, this year, and her entire dress for her evening gown was made out of, you know, the tabs on the cans of soda? So it was made out of that, and that was a really good message, I think. Anybody else? I saw some hands. Yes.
Uh, Earlier, wearing ethnic was a force, but now it's a choice. For example, earlier our moms are supposed to tell by our grandparents that you have to wear saris and suits. That was a force. They used to feel like as a pressure and a bondage, but now it's a choice. We feel free and confident to reflect our Indianness and our ethnicity, which Indianness holds.
Yes, I definitely agree to that. Especially in America, now that there's a trend in the Indian community, like wearing jhumke with like regular Western outfits and evening gowns and dresses. And before, it used to be, when I was younger, it used to be a trend to do more westernized things, like completely dress like how white people dressed, right? Let's say it how it is. But now it's more empowering, like how you said, for Indian people to finally embrace their culture, not be ashamed of it. Anybody else? Yes, you right there.
I feel like the companies that don't produce good clothes or good product, people should stop buying their products because Kylie Swim, for example, people were like it was really controversial because the label was see-through and the stitching was not right. So people
Yes.
should drop that buying those products.
So why do you think people do buy them if they're like not as great as other products?
Maybe because she's famous.
I would definitely
She's
agree.
famous sister than mom.
Yes, definitely. I would say that it's also because of the clout she has, the reputation she has. It's, you know, trendy, like people think it's cool. But in reality, you just have a cheaply made product and it doesn't look that great on you either. So, anyone else? Blue in the back. Yes, you.
I think, according to me, like fashion is related to the perspective of the people, like how they see the fashion. And for example, like someone mentioned, it's very inclusive, and so it's like a fashion is quoted. Then if a people reject it, so it's like a relatable. If it's not relatable, then it might get rejected. So bunch of people like perspective and relatability. It comes hand to hand, and according like the example was given in the political way, so it was like if the someone also mentioned about the social problems that it took the fashion as social problems. We are at the stage right now that fashion is growing away, but we can't come back, that it's just keep growing, and the
Yes.
problems they took as a show socially, so we can't avoid that. But a relatability, like someone can't relate to this topic, so they will reject it definitely. So it's according to the perspective of the people.
Yes, you're definitely right. I think that's definitely a good perspective that fashion is definitely in the eye of the beholder, you know? So, I know a lot of you guys did have your hands raised, but let's move on for now. So, I wanted to talk about this for a second, okay? How do we feel about this? No? Okay. So, I'm hearing a lot of no's. At this time, this went crazy because this look was something new. It was never seen before. However, if we look at the responsibility aspect of it, was it really that responsible? No. It was 112 pounds of meat. It was $100,000 worth of meat right there, and it all ended up rotting. Imagine how many people that could have fed. Imagine how much meat that would have saved. So overall, I think we agree that this was not the most ethical or responsible decision. But how about this? So how do we feel about this? If you guys in the back can't see that clearly, it's basically white women wearing bindis. How do we feel about that? Can you guys raise your hand? Is it appropriation? Is it appreciation? Yes, you right there?
I feel like if they know what they are doing and they know the importance or the history that holds the bindi, for
Yes.
example, they can.
Okay. Good perspective. You in the black?
I think the intention is to appreciate, but it's not being portrayed. Correct, I would say.
Okay. You back there?
I feel like it's a very good point that these days Western fashion is including the Indian culture because before times we used to be so much behind the Western culture. We used to go adopt their culture and their everything, but then right now it's very good to know that everyone else in the, globally is accepting the Indian culture and knowing about them, even yoga and all. So it's very global. India is globally recognized, so I think that is very good right now.
Yes. It's about time, right? Anyone else? Your opinions? Okay, so let me just reiterate both sides of the argument. Some people with white people wearing bindis, they say, absolutely it's okay. This is appreciation, as long as they know what the history is, right? As you said. However, some people say that it's really a part of our culture and it's not okay for them to be using it as a fashion statement. For example, this is Gwen Stefani, and I think she wore it on the red carpet, and then that's Selena Gomez, and she wore it during a performance, right, for a song. So it didn't really have anything to do with the Indian culture necessarily. They have their reasons, but this is a debate that will go on for quite some time. So whatever opinions you guys have about it, they're valid, whatever your individual opinions are. But my point being for this little game that we did was that it's essential to be responsible when it comes to the fashion industry. You guys are all headed into it, so you guys need to understand that things like this and then the meat dress, that's going to come with a lot of controversy. It might not always be good for you, your brand, right? So you need to approach it with a good, clear mind. You need to assess whether it's responsible politically, ethically, socially, commercially. And after realizing this is how you guys can go further in this industry as well. So these are the 3 points that I wanted to cover in my talk with you guys today. Society, individuality, and responsibility. So I'm going to stop talking now, but I want to hear from you guys just some of the things that you're going to take away from what I've said today. Anyone? You guys can just raise your hands. I want to know what message you guys are going to take away from this. You guys can take a second and think. Okay, you in the back?
So definitely I will take a responsibility to with me from the station. Like we are new in this field, so we should know what values should we add in our field throughout the career. And as you taught us about the responsibility, so definitely I will keep that in my mind.
Okay, beautiful. I'm glad to hear you're taking away responsibility. Yes, you right here?
And be expressive and confident and don't feel ashamed of anything others say.
Yes, definitely. She said be expressive, confident, and what was the last thing you said?
Don't be ashamed of anything that others say.
Beautiful. Don't be ashamed of anything that others say. Yes, you in the back?
Fashion world, everybody thinks it is glamorous and it's just everybody just wearing amazing, just fancy clothes. But in the end of the day, it's a really lot about what you are, and it might come off that you are very fancy and everything. But in the end of the day, people judge that fancy in many different ways. So be safe and be aware of what you're showing for them.
Yes, definitely. Yes, you right here?
Being comfortable
fashion, but to a certain level.
Yes, definitely. One more in the back.
What I learned was where we come from, know what your roots are, know where you're from, and appreciate it. Go along with it, and don't remove your morals or something just to show all the glamorous side of it. Everything should go in hand to hand and balance it.
Yes, staying true to you. That's essential. Yes, right here.
To be mindful and have a good influence over others.
Yes. Anybody else? You two right there, black one.
Yeah, to be very clear about what exactly you want to portray to the people out there. I got that from the experiment that you did about the blue.
Yes, exactly. I'm glad you took something away from that. You in the blue, you had your hand raised?
Being yourself, like as you said, you have been also judged at times, but you never forget who you are. Like the same thing, the blue hair thing. So like being yourself is the first thing I will appreciate.
Beautiful. So I'm glad that you guys can take away things from my talk today. I want to thank you guys for your time. And if anybody has any questions, I have till 11, so we have 5 minutes for a little bit of Q&A if you have any questions about me, my pageant journey, anything I've spoken about, my own experiences. Feel free to ask that right now. Yes, you?
When did your journey got started and how did it went on the journey, including your hard work?
So actually, my journey started with, you mean my pageant journey or just overall? Pageant journey, okay. So my pageant journey started about 2 years ago. It started with a small pageant called Miss India DMV, which is DC, Maryland, and Virginia, 3 different states in the US. And I really didn't know what I was getting into with this. I was a little bit insecure about my height, my body type, because that's what I was seeing on TV, right, as I mentioned before. But I went at it, I gave my 100%, I stayed true to myself, and what do you know? I won. So then I represented DC in the Miss India USA pageant, which is at a national level. Again, put my blood, sweat, and tears into that. I used the visualization exercise that I made you guys to do, and I used that to envision what I really wanted for myself. I won. And then I went on to an international level, Miss India Worldwide. I did the same thing. I kept following the process. It's definitely a journey with ups and downs. And I knew that it didn't have to be perfect. I didn't have to be perfect. And with that mindset, I won. So that's a little bit about my journey. Anybody else? Anybody else? Any questions? Yes.
Who did you idolize for building up your own confidence?
Who did I idolize for building up my own confidence? That's a very good question. Okay, there's a couple different aspects to this one. First of all, I would definitely say my dad. My dad was the one who got me into the creative arts, and he always was there for me, even when I would panic, even when there were nights where I said, I can't do this is too much. He was the one who calmed me down, helped me gain my confidence. He was patient with me because at first you're not going to be able to understand everything, right? I'm still growing up, I'm still learning. But he allowed me to have that confidence in myself. He allowed me to understand that it's okay for me to struggle. And then the second person I would say that helped me build up my confidence is the vision I had for my future self, if that makes sense. So basically, who do I want to see in the mirror 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And then I tried to be like her. I tried to do things that future Aarya would do, to act in that way, to stay poised, graceful under pressure, and that gave me confidence. So I would say these are two of the main things. Anybody else? Yes, you right there.
Mom, what was your first thought when you were on the stage before wearing the crown?
Okay, so every single time I'm on stage before the rounds for pageants, you would think it gets easier with experience, but every single time there's fear. My legs shake, I get anxiety, butterflies, a little bit of stage fright. However, the thing that I say to myself is, I've done this before, I'm comfortable in myself, all I have to do is go out there and show it. So that's what I say to myself, that's my inner dialogue. I tell myself that we've practiced for this, it's okay. I calm down, I breathe, and then I do it. Whatever happens, happens, right? Anybody else? Yes, you right there? Yes, of course. So she asked, what are some of the low phases of my career? So I've spoken a little bit about this in previous TED Talks as well, but some of the low phases that I've had were mental blockages, mental challenges, right? I know a lot of this generation does know about like the trendy buzzwords of mental health, body positivity, all of that. It's sort of become a little bit of a fad now, right? Sort of a trendy thing. However, this really was a struggle that I went on. Mental issues, mental challenges, anxiety. You guys might have faced this as well. Self-confidence was low at certain times, depression. And all of this, the way I managed to get out of it was really by exploring. It was finding myself, and it was a long and tough process. There were nights where I would just look in the mirror and cry. And I know that a lot of you guys have had the same struggles. It's very common for especially women to have in this day and age, that feeling of insecurity, a feeling like you're never pretty enough, you're never thin enough, you're too this, you're too that. However, it's a process to get out of it. You will struggle. But one day when you find yourself, it'll be worth it because those scars have made you who you are. Anybody else? We have like 1 more minute. So any last questions? Yes, red and then yellow. हा मराठीमध्ये बोलू शकतेस.
तुमच्या सर्वात म्हणजे तुमच्या सर्व आयुष्यामध्ये आनंदाचा आणि महत्त्वाचा दिवस कोणता होता?
Okay. Good question. So she asked what was the most happy and important part of my life, right? So I would say my happiest point in my life was the exploring part. When I tried as many things as I could in order to see what I liked, to see what didn't fit me, and from this is how I became me. So that was really exciting. It made me who I am today. What else? Some of my happiest. Definitely one of them was when my younger sister was born. I'm sure a lot of you siblings can relate. She is definitely one of the most challenging people in my life right now. But she constantly teaches me that it's important to not be serious all the time, to live like a kid. So that are 2 of the happiest moments of my life. And then one important moment of my life was probably when I didn't get into my dream college. So I just finished my first year in college in the US. However, the college where I am at now is not the place where I had envisioned that I would be. I expected to get into someplace better, with higher ranking, with better this, better that. However, that didn't end up happening. But after I won the pageant, it turns out that the college I'm actually in right now is close to the areas where I get most of my jobs, do most of my acting, modeling. So it worked out. And now I use that to remind myself that no matter how upset I am over results going wrong, things going not according to my plan, I remember that everything happens for a reason. So with that, I'm a little bit over time, sorry guys, but I hope you guys took something away from this. If you guys wish to continue